All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Nick.
I feel like I'm so far from you because you're on a laptop and I'm in a hotel in Miami and I'm sitting like we're doing an in-person episode because I'm not at a desk. But here we are. It's so exciting and we have such a good episode. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Is this what, 86? Episode 86?
This is episode 87.
87? Wow. I was one off, guys. I was one off. No, I'm happy to be here. It is different. You have a beautiful view. Not that we can really see it, but you're looking out at the beautiful view of the Miami water and the high rises, and I'm sure it feels so good to be there right now.
It's true. It's very nice. It's very inspiring and motivational, which is perfect because today's episode we're essentially just talking motivation. We're calling this episode like listen if you need some motivation because it's going to be it's not going to be all over the place, but we're going to hit on so many different like topics and motivational things because right now we know that a lot of our listeners just need it. It's always, this time of the year can be so abundant, but it can also be so tough because there's so much like financial pressure associated with this time of the year that it used to make me pretty anxious. Like you're trying to save up money and get gifts and you got all these people in your life that you want to spoil, but you also have things you want to do and you know by buying stuff for other people you can't. And like, I think people just need a little bit of motivation today. What do you think?
Yes, I think I need it as well, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yes. So let's begin. First thing that I want to hit on is essentially just the fact that people have everything it takes. And there are so many stories and narratives out there that make people feel like they don't have the things that they need to succeed. But like everyone listening to this, you have everything it takes to achieve your goals. You have all of the tools right there in front of you. Like even if you don't have all the skills yet, everything is there for you to achieve all of your dreams. And the reason I love being like in a hotel or seeing like skylines or things like this is because I know some of these buildings, like to live on the top floor of these buildings, these are $20 million apartments. What do you think the monthly payment is on a $20 million apartment?
Oh gosh. 20 million? I have no idea. Maybe $50,000 a month?
I don't know the answer because it varies so much, but like you're pretty close. Like anywhere from like $25,000 to $100,000 per month. Like that's what some of these people's rent is. And like there was a time where I didn't make that in a 2-year period. And it's just so inspiring and motivating to me to just think about that. Like all of the people that live in a $20 million apartment, most of them, I would say, probably grew up with like scarcity mindset, not believing in themselves, and certainly not thinking that that would become their reality. And I just think it's so inspiring.
Yeah. There's like everybody's dealt different cards, right? Like we're all born where we're born. We all have the parents we have. We cannot change those things. Sometimes we want to, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're grateful. But at the end of the day, when you're an adult, you have decisions you get to make. You have desires that are meant to be there. And then you have what it takes to do what it takes, but you have to do what it takes to have the things you want. And it's the only thing separating people from the $100,000 house versus the $20 million one that you're discussing is that they made a decision that they're capable and they're going to do what it takes, which is exactly what you're talking about.
It gets me so fired up and excited when I think about it. And also meeting those people too. They'll tell you exactly what we're saying. They'll be like, honestly, I can't believe it sometimes myself. And I just think that gives everyone permission to try. because a lot of people are not trying hard enough to achieve their goals because they like deep down in their soul, they don't actually think that it's possible. And like it is. I promise you it is. Even though it might feel hard like to imagine paying $100,000 per month in rent for a place, like I know that feels impossible. That feels impossible to me right now. But I know that it's not. And I try to act like it and just take the steps every day to just be a little bit better, a little bit smarter, put myself in circles with the right people and take good care of myself. And I know that one day it's going to happen because like my dream is to own a very nice house in Nantucket. And I know that that's going to run me like $40,000 a month maybe. And like right now, that's like, that's not in the cards right now. But I know it's going to be because I'm just going to do whatever it takes. Like I have what it takes. I can invest in skills. I can read books from the right people. Like all of the information is out there for us.
Yeah, and it's cool because number one, I can't wait till you have that so I can come visit. But also, you know it's there just because it's not your current reality. You know you have this desire. People listening to this episode are probably not like, I want to have that in Nantucket one day. Maybe they are, but I would say majority of people have a different dream that they have. And there's a reason you have that dream. You know that it's yours. You know it's going to happen and you know what to do. You know the things that it takes that you need to do to get that someday. And I know we're going to look back at this episode and be like, remember that in a few years from now? And you're going to be like, yeah, it's my reality. And we're going to be telling people something else that you have a dream or desire of and how you're achieving it. And the cool thing is, I've learned that a lot of people do work really hard. They work hard at the wrong things. But also, it's whenever you're working because you're not trying to reach a goal, but instead you're doing what you know you need to do to reach a goal, you stop thinking about the goal. Therefore, you're not as upset about the timeline. So for me, it's like I have dreams and desires, right? And I know where I'm at right now. Like, let's say acting wise, for example, let's take money off the table for a second. Acting wise, I want to be in a TV show one day and I want to help make an impact. And it's not about fame, it's not about fortune for me. It's just something that I love doing. I love acting. Am I there right now? Absolutely not. But I know I will be someday. And it's like, I'm not focused on whether or not I'm auditioning or booking roles right now. I'm focused on I'm in school for acting. I'm focused on I'm growing every day. And it takes the pressure off of the goal when I'm just focusing on the input that I know I can control right now. And it goes back to the same thing when it does come to money. You're not every single day like, I don't have that. I don't have that house in Nantucket yet because that chips away at your confidence. But no, you're like, I know what I need to do. I'm running a business. I have people that I'm coaching. I have this podcast. I have all these things. And you're just focusing on that. And you know what? You're happy. You're grateful. You show up and you're not hard on yourself for not being where you know you will be one day because you are not meant to be there right now.
I will host the premiere for your TV show at my house in Nantucket.
Perfect. Love it.
It's so awesome though because like this is our 87th episode. This is our 87th week doing this. We every Wednesday we record. We don't always post it on Wednesdays, but every Wednesday for pretty much 87 weeks minus like little travel days and things, we have recorded this podcast and we're just watching like our dreams not come true, but like all of the pieces are falling into place for the dreams that we know are going to come true. And I think the first step is to know and understand and really believe in your dreams. Like that's something that is missing for a lot of people. They are on autopilot, working at something that they might not even be that interested in. And they're totally disconnected from their dreams and how short life is. Because I promise, life is long enough to achieve all of your dreams, but it's short enough that if every day you're not thinking about your dreams, time will pass you by and you won't achieve them. And one of the reasons like we really resonated at first when we met was just because of the way we think about like envisioning our future, vision boards, manifestation, just things like that, because we know it really does get you there. Like when I was probably 21, And the prior 20 years, if you told me that one day, like, I was going to be making vision boards and like printing them out on poster paper and hanging them above my bed, I would be like, what the fuck happens to me that I start doing that? Do I go like completely soft? Like what happens? But it's not soft. It's not like woo woo weird magic. It is just quite literally the science of, if you have a vision for what you want your life to be like, and you put tangible pictures together that make you feel like that could be it. Like, I don't know what my house in Nantucket will look like, but I could just find a good picture of a nice house in Nantucket and be like, that's close enough that I can feel it. And when you put all these things together on a poster board or make it your like desktop background or whatever you do, and you see it every day, you're just more likely to achieve it because it's at the top of your mind. I have Nantucket in mind. And the more that I think about it, the more likely I am to make little decisions that get me closer. You know, like when an opportunity in my town to go see a motivational speaker comes up, I'm going to jump on that opportunity because I saw on my vision board, I saw the Nantucket house this morning, and I know going to that event, does it buy me the house in Nantucket? No, but it gets me closer to it, and it helps me become the person that lives in Nantucket and can afford a house in Nantucket.
Yeah. It's those little things. And I mean, we talk about it all the time, but it's like you can't grasp what you need to be doing unless you know why you're doing it. And like you said, the autopilot thing, that's what I was saying. Like a lot of people work really hard, but it's not in alignment with where they actually want to be. It's just what they started doing years ago. And maybe there was a time whenever their life was like, okay, now it's time to pivot, but it was uncomfortable. It was scary. You felt like you had to start all over and you stayed where you just have always been. And that's scary because you're just going to keep getting what you've always gotten. And you want something different, you've got to do something different. You've got to step outside of that comfort zone and believe that things will work out. Believe that if a door is closing, you shouldn't force it open. You shouldn't force it to stay open. You should let it close and let a better one open. And trust me, it is scary to do. But this is the thing that stops people from not only just showing up, but from believing in themselves, is because they work so hard at something that isn't really in alignment with where they want to be. And then they're taking that opportunity away from someone who might need to be there instead.
I love that, the opportunity that like that's like you're in someone else's spot and you should be working on getting into your spot that's made for you. I love that so much. And I get sad when I think about how many people are not in the right spot and how many people are not thinking these thoughts, listening to podcasts like ours. Ours is not the only one, too. Like, listen to as many podcasts as you can, read as many books as you can, spend time around as many people as you can that you know will help you become the person that can afford those dreams and that can live them out. Because a lot of people's dreams, like, it might not be to afford a certain thing, it might just be like a certain level of happiness or a certain goal related to their family, but all of it requires so much inner work. And the path in the 3D world has already been laid out. Like, unless your mission is like Elon Musk's and it's to colonize Mars, everything else has been done. Like, there is someone out there that has achieved your dream, and when people achieve their dreams, what do they do next? They typically just write fucking books about it so that other people can go do it, because they're like when I am living in my house in Nantucket, I mean, I'm not going to stop like creating or doing anything, but I'm going to use that as fuel to inspire other people, even the way I am right now. Like, I'm almost speaking and living like I already own the house in Nantucket and like I know it's going to happen at a certain point, because it is. And if I have that attitude and I keep making the right daily decisions, I go to the gym when I can, even though I'm not going to win that battle some days, I go every morning I can bring myself to, and I read the right books, and I become a better leader, and I spend more time around people like Michelle, I'm going to be there. I'm going to achieve all of this. I'm going to have the house in Nantucket. We're going to have the premiere for Michelle's TV show.
Yeah, it's those it's like such a simple thing, but it's such a mindset shift. I know it's hard. I know it's different, especially if you're 50 and you've just been doing the same thing over and over. Or maybe you haven't seen this done. But trust me when I say Nick knows what he's talking about. Nick bringing up the fact that people who are successful have written books. This isn't a new concept. This is done over and over and over by the most successful people, and the people that are kind enough to share it in a book. They're not sharing it to make $5 from your purchase. A lot of these books are actually free on Spotify Premium. Like, you can listen to the audiobook. They're doing it because they're like, wow, this changed my life. I want to help change others' lives, just like me and Nick are right now. And it's so simple. And I get that it's hard though. It's so hard because it is a complete mindset shift. And it's not even just with your career, it's with everything. It's with your health, it's with the way that you're showing up every day for you. It's everything. And it's like, you have to know why you're doing it, which we talk about a lot. And I know the whole like know your why. Nick, we need to definitely do an episode about the why. We have to do that because that's going to be so impactful. But it's also like, know that those little dreams, like the Nantucket house, to me, I'm like, that is so random. Like, that's so random. But it's not to Nick. It's a dream of his. It's like mine is more like a lot of people dream about having like a house on the hill in Beverly Hills or whatever. A lot of people have those dreams. Nick's is more random. You know why? Because it's supposed to happen. And you know what? It will. It will happen. I am claiming it today. It's going to happen. And he knows that. And he's working on it. And it's going to be a thing. And you know what? If 5 years from now, he's like, I have this money, I'd rather just go buy a house on the coast in Italy. Cool. That he's going to have a house on a coast where there's water, Nantucket vibes for sure. But just think about like those little things in your heart, the person listening to this. Think about it. Like the little things that are in your heart are there for a reason. You are meant to accomplish those. You're not meant to just have all of it when you're born because there's no fun in that. The journey of life is discovering these things that you have desires of and how you can find them and how you can get them and how you can help others get theirs along the way.
That was so good. That was so good. I love the little callings thing that you mentioned, like those little callings, because we all have them. Like I've been having one for years to learn to play, to buy a guitar and learn to play guitar. Like it's just one of those little things that like maybe it comes up in your mind once or twice a month and like your brain's just like, man, I've always wanted to do this. And then your brain comes up with all the reasons that you're not going to do it, or you can't right now, or you can't afford it, or it's not the right time. Those little tiny feelings and callings, you have to capitalize on those. Those are the things that help you become the person you're supposed to be. Like once I started playing guitar, did anything drastically change in my life? No. But did I change who I am as a person? Absolutely, because I've humbled myself. I have an additional creative outlet. Like it opens up so many other doors. Even conversations. I might meet someone 3 years from now that lives in Nantucket and plays guitar and we both know the same song and that connection was just meant to happen. And it was that little calling that I was suppressing for a while that was like, get a guitar and learn to play. Like that was supposed to happen to get me where I'm supposed to go. And I would have never seen the opportunity if I didn't do it and become that person. I have one more thing, because you said so much good stuff. I want to unpack it all. The other thing, you've got to surround yourself with people that push you to be your best and that love you and that support you. Because when Michelle was just ranting a moment ago about how this is all going to happen for me, like her confidence in it helps my confidence in it. So you've also got to surround yourself with people that don't tear you down. And when you try to become that different person and the people around you are like, what are you even doing that for? Why did you just buy a guitar? And they make you feel like shit. You got to tell those people to fuck right off, because truly you need to be surrounded by people that make you feel like you can do these things, because you will do them if you have the encouragement.
Yeah. Ooh, so good. Oh my gosh.
Someone clip that. Someone turn that into a clip.
I love that. Oh my gosh. No, it's true, guys. Like, you have to surround yourself with the right people. And again, you can't always control who your family is. I'm so grateful. I love my family. A lot of them listen to this podcast. They're so supportive. My mom has always been my number one fan. So I'm not saying that as if like it's me, but the thing is, you can't always control the family, but you can put up boundaries. If there is somebody that you love and you know they're doing it out of love, but it's their own fears speaking into your decisions, you cannot allow that. I've done it in the past with my mentors, with people that I used to work with. They would speak fear into me because I trusted them and I loved them and I knew they had the right heart for me, but they were coming from their own perspective. So, like, some people also need to learn to just shut up and, like, let people do what they're doing. Let them learn from their own mistakes if it's not meant to be. But I'm telling you, if they have a desire, even something as random as I want to learn Spanish, do it. You can do Duolingo. It takes a minute and 30 seconds a day. If you're like me and you're not that serious about it, if you're like Nick, you have like weekly hour lessons. My brain cannot handle that. But I love what you said about the random things because for me, I have so many random passions and random things I love doing. Like right now, sourdough starter. I am feeding Rosalinda. Me and Nick both have Rosalinda. She's a twin. So half of her is in New Jersey, the other half is here in Los Angeles. And every day I'm like feeding her. Why do I want to do this? I don't know. But I think someday it'll be a great conversation. I could make content about it. I can bake 2 loaves for every week that I make and give one to a neighbor, one to me. Like, you always want to bake two. So it's like for me, it's a giving thing. Like I get to give this to someone else. And it's so random, but it's what I'm meant to do. And if I just keep suppressing these random things because I quote unquote don't have time or I don't know how to do it yet, I'm harming myself and my journey and my path and my timing if I just ignore those little things. So I want to encourage everyone, write down the random things that you have desires of. Write down the things that you're like, oh, that'd be cool to do. Because I guarantee there's a reason it's there.
I'm having so much fun with this episode. This is so great. It made me realize that one of the other things, this one's come up a couple of times. I want to paint a picture of like a Nantucket house.
Ooh.
I'm a pretty good artist. I don't do any art related things, but I've always been a really good drawer because that's the word, right? Someone who draws is a drawer. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it's something like that. I've always been a good drawer because I have the patience for it. Like one time, this was when me and my girlfriend were still new, so she was still getting used to my antics. And she was like, oh my God, like, let's do like a wine and paint night. Like, we'll like drink wine and paint something. She had like kind of drawn out what she was gonna do. Like, you take a canvas, most people lightly sketch something in pencil and then you paint almost like between the lines, it just helps you. She was like done in 2 hours. I spent 5 hours that night, like getting halfway through the drawing part of it. And it was like a wake up call for her. She was like, okay, so we can't do anything fun. We can't do anything just for fun because Nick has to take it so fucking seriously. But like, that's been in me a little bit. My grandpa was a fantastic artist and like woodworker. We have like sculptures and birds that he's made, and we have so many cool things that like, and he used to paint so much. It's in my blood for sure because he was also an engineer and I got like the math and science brain from him. I'm very similar to my grandpa, and like that's been a little calling of mine. And I know I need to explore that because like it might just, I don't know why, but I'm being called to like paint a nice like Nantucket house. And I bet what's gonna happen, I'm gonna paint that, I'm gonna frame it, I'm gonna look at it every single day, and it is just gonna come to life. And I can't wait for that. So like, I'm glad you mentioned this and we've kind of created the space to feel those callings. Like, I hope our listeners are like, oh yeah, I have been having that one to like, even if it's making bread, like we are with Rosalinda. It might not, like the Nantucket one feels so on par because it's related to my big goal. The bread one is not, but I promise, like there's a reason we both wanted to do that. And oh boy, I need to get better at taking care of Rosalinda. She's at my mom's right now. I hope she's doing okay. But I love exploring these little callings, and I'm so excited to see where they take us. Do you have any others, Michelle? Like maybe that you haven't explored yet? Like any other little callings that are coming up?
I usually like explore them in some way, shape, or form. Like I've done interior design and I've gotten paid for it. I love interior design. I've done art. I love abstract art. I love painting. I'm laughing at the art thing because I didn't know that about you. And I'm staring at this canvas I need to finish. It's a big canvas. The one in my entryway, I did. Like I love art. I love just random things. Surfing is a newer one that I just got roof racks for my Tesla so I can get a surfboard. Like, yeah, they're sitting in my closet right now. I need to put them on. So it's like I usually just dive into it, and my family has gotten so used to it at this point that I'm so like I have so many different things I love doing. I'm wired that way. Some people aren't. And you know what? That's even more of a wake up call for you. If you do feel something and you're not typically all over the place like me, then there's really a reason why this is in your heart, in your soul. And it's okay. It reminded me of this thing in class the other day. Whenever one of my teachers was like, we would not be here if we did not all collectively agree to be in this classroom right now. Like it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be here. And these people that are from all over the world all signed up for the same class. There's like 15 of us. And it's so crazy because the teacher, he's 80 years old, he would not be teaching and driving an hour and a half from where he lives every Saturday for us. And he wouldn't be having his calling in life if we did not listen to ours and be like, you know what, I need to take this Alexander technique class. I need to go to this class. It's like we all help each other as a society when we listen to these callings. Nick has a Spanish teacher who doesn't even live in the United States. That's her calling in life. Nick saying, I want to learn Spanish and I'm going to take lessons from this person is giving her income, helping her walk in what she's called to do. He's now learning Spanish. I'm sure there's many people he's going to interact with throughout his life that speak Spanish, maybe only speak Spanish, and Nick can connect with them. Like there's so many reasons why there's these little things in us. And it's to help one another. It's to help people thrive in whatever their career is meant to be. And it's like when you show up and you pay for a paint and sip, whatever, like a classroom, then you're helping that person who's teaching how to paint Nantucket do their job, you know? So it's like we have to listen. We can't just be boxed up in our house watching TV every night, not doing anything and being on autopilot because it's not helping society, it's not helping us grow, and it's not helping anyone else.
That just like took me away. Every time you're saying these things, I'm having a hard time even responding because I'm just trying to download all of this.
It's so funny. I don't know where this stuff comes from. I don't think about what I'm saying. Like this stuff just comes out of me and it sounds like I'm like having a TED talk.
We're in our zone of genius. Um,
True.
I think that's all it is. And that's why it feels so effortless sometimes to do this podcast, even though we plan a lot and put so much work into it. The actual conversation is not really pre-scripted. I have an outline to keep us like on track if we get too off track. So far, we've pretty much touched nothing on it because this is just a topic that we get so excited to talk about. This is why I love doing this podcast with you. I also had such a good idea, but I can't tell you it. I'll have
What?
to save it. I can't tell you. I'll have to tell you another time. All right, I want to switch gears a little bit because there is an exercise that I would have any of my students that I have coached, like privately coached, like really where they paid me a lot of money and I was working very closely with them. There's an exercise that I would have them do. It is a visualization exercise, and oh my goodness, it's so powerful. If you are listening to this, I want you to close your eyes as long as you're not operating a vehicle or other heavy machinery. Close your eyes. Michelle, you close your eyes too. So pretend right now, I want you to picture a jail cell. It's a little bit grim at first, but it's going to take a nice turn. I want you to picture a jail cell. Okay, a room that looks like it's all metal. Even the walls are like such cold concrete, they might as well be metal. And there's just one bed in there with one pillow and the tiniest little blanket. and a toilet and the prison bars. Picture it. Is there a window? Maybe, maybe not. Picture it. It's not a good place. It is not a good place to be. It's not a good place to live. I want you to imagine that you have to live in that jail cell for the next year, for 365 days, if you do not achieve all of your dreams and goals over the next 3 years. So picture you've got a 3-year clock, and if at the end of those 3 years you have to go live in that jail cell for 1 full year, do you think you could open your eyes and come back to the room? Do you think that you can achieve your goals? Do you think you could be in a TV show?
Ooh, good question. I mean, yeah, I do think I could. I think 3 years is too long of a goal for me. I think I would need like a 1 year.
Even better, even better. So like, I hope the people listening, like I hope if you didn't actually do that or take that exercise seriously, like go back and rewind, think about what your goal is. Because for me, like it goes back to the point of like, you have what it takes to do what it takes. Like, I want to live in Nantucket. I know my rent is going to be like $40,000 a month, but like I'm close. I'm so close. I like nearly made that last month across all my ventures and investments. And like, you need much more than that to like comfortably live in a place that's that priced. But like, I know I could do it. And I know that in a high pressure situation like that, maybe even like take it a step further, you go to jail for the rest of your life if you don't achieve those dreams. Like, I know that every person can find it in them to achieve them, and you can start actually working towards it and stop pretending that you have all the time in the world. And anytime I did that exercise with people that I was coaching that were struggling to make money online, it kicked them right into gear. Because in that scenario, I would be like, if you don't make a sale, it would be for people that are struggling to make money. If you don't make a sale this month, you have to spend the rest of your life in that jail cell. And I would pull up a picture of a disgusting looking jail cell. And then all of a sudden they're like, and I'm like, what would you actually do? Like, starting tomorrow, if you have 30 days, what would you do? And all of a sudden they're doing more outreach. They're making more content. They're optimizing their offer. They're playing around with the price. And then they go make a sale. Many sales.
Yeah, I think too, if I gave it my all and I still didn't get in the show in 3 years, I think I'd be okay because I'm like, you know what, I did my best. But the thing is, we all know when we're not showing up as our best. We all know when we're getting distracted, when we're half-assing things, when we're not going a little bit more, a little bit of the extra, not even mile, the extra inch. Some people don't even do the extra inch. Like, add a freaking hook at the beginning of your video. What are you doing? Like, that is such a simple thing. Like, it's those things where it's like, at least I know I gave it my all. And I think this goes back to a previous episode we had about perfectionism. I think for me, the reason I don't look at my analytics, I don't look at how videos perform, is because at the end of the day, I know I added in the best clips. I did the best caption I could. I added the text on screen. I followed the protocol. I did my best. And so I don't feel like I need to look at the analytics and how it's performing because that's so out of my control. And I'm already moved on to the next thing that I'm doing that's an input. So it's like those little things, if you know you showed up as your best, at least you know you grew a lot. Whether or not you got your goal, you're a hell of a lot closer than you would have been if you just kept doing what you were doing.
Yep. I mean, that's so funny, the hook thing. I love that about you. I love that about your content and just everything you do. Like, if you guys are not aware of this, Michelle does not half-ass a single thing in her entire life, in her day. Like, there is nothing that you half-ass at all, especially if it will be in the public eye at any point. You never half-ass anything. And like, you are the definition of like, you have what it takes to do what it takes and actually doing it. And that is so inspiring. You have made me such a better content creator, aside from like actual tips and things you do, just with the effort that you put in. When I first made content and I started blowing up, I was really not trying that hard. And I don't want to sound like a snob when I say that, but like, that's just the truth. Like, is that I really wasn't like giving it my all. I was showing up daily and consistently, but like I wasn't spending enough time learning how to be a good editor. And thankfully, at least the things I was saying and providing people were valuable enough that it allowed me to go viral. But like, I could have been doing more. And if I look back, and my challenge was like to get up 500,000 followers. And if I don't, like you end up in jail. I should have been working much harder than I was. So I don't know, shout out to you for just like how inspiring it is that like how hard you work on things. That is one of the like best qualities about you among others.
Well, thank you for that. It is hard though, because timing wise, I can't do as much with time all the time whenever I am this way, but I think I would still choose to be representative of excellence versus just try to put shit out there. Although I will say, sometimes the least thought out videos on TikTok Shop do the best. Literally, just being authentic. So it really depends on what your goal as well. Like the things I do are public facing, they're representative of BMC, or they're a training that's going to be seen by many people, or it's an aesthetic video. But like there are things where you can just show up with what you have. Obviously, Nick, you grew to over 500,000 followers just doing what you knew to do. Like you didn't need to try for that. But some people still won't even show up for that. Like they still won't even show up with do what you can with what you have, do what you know, show up in some way, just show up. But if you know there is better and you can do better, that's where I'm like, you know that you're choosing to half-ass this. That's a choice you're making. And sometimes it still can do really well. But at the end of the day, we talked about this previously, the Robin Sharma book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy, where he talked about his dad told him, paint the inside of the fence. It doesn't matter who's going to see it. You know it's not painted. It's not fully done. Do it for you. It's like make your bed. Who cares if no one sees it? Do it for you. It's all part of it. It all goes back to being the person who has a $40,000, I would say mortgage. Let's not rent. I think you need to buy a house and have a mortgage, not pay rent. A $40,000 mortgage payment. What type of person are you? What would your habits be? What would your life look like? Who would people see you as when you're that person? And are you currently doing those things and actions today?
I agree. It should be a mortgage payment, not a rent payment. And I agree. You're leading me into our next topic perfectly. Like where you said, like, make your bed and do the little things. I think one of the biggest steps to achieving your dream, because we've talked about a lot of the like offensive stuff, there's a little more defensive. The first defensive step to achieving your dreams is conquering your tiny impulses. And the biggest one, oh my God, move your fucking phone charger away from your bed. I will say it every podcast episode until every person who's ever watched this podcast calls me on the phone and says, hey, I did it. Until that happens, I will say it as many times as I remember. Move your phone charger away from your bed. Your phone is designed to steal your time so that people can market products to you and so that you can buy stuff from them. Like that is why your phone is so addicting and all of these apps are so addicting, is because your attention makes someone else money. So please conquer the impulse, move your phone charger away from your bed so that when you are in your bed and you're starting or ending your day, it is on your terms and you're in charge and you're able to think about how you can be the best version of yourself and achieve your dreams, and you're not just sitting there buying shit you don't need on Instagram because someone targeted you with an ad for shampoo, even though you already have shampoo and a brand that you like. Like, it's just crazy how bad it can be if your phone runs your life and how good it can be if you can just set a boundary. One of the girls that I coach right now has been struggling with this. Like, I made her on our last couple calls, I made her move her phone charger and it kept like going back to her bed magically. It just kept going back to her bedside. I made her duct tape her phone charger to the outlet away from her bed the other day and send me a picture. And it is not super aesthetic. It would not pass your aesthetics test, Michelle. But you know what? I've been getting messages from her all week long that are like, honestly, I had a really tough business day, but I wasn't on my phone in the morning. So I got up and I went to the gym and I did the good things that I know I should be doing that I haven't been. And she was like, and honestly, I'm not even fazed by the fact that it was a tough day. I feel great. So conquer the impulses, move your phone charger away from your bed, duct tape it to the wall if you have to.
Yeah, and it's not even just people selling, it's what are you being entertained by? What are you laughing at? What are you getting your dopamine hits from? Because if you're happy, or not even just happy, if you're just satisfied or fulfilled by consuming something, you're not going to chase the hard dream. You're not going to do the hard things because you know what? Your tank is full now. But from what? Nothing that got you closer to your end goal. So that's why I took years off of TV and all these things that were like making me happy. I wasn't socializing as much because I was like, I have this. Like, this is filling that little tank. But isn't it more impactful to talk to a person and like volunteer somewhere and go give back or just have a conversation, have a podcast episode? Like that is better for the whole world and yourself. And so it's like you have to do those things. You have to get off of it in the morning, during the day, whenever you're trying to get a little fix because maybe you're stressed out. What are you going to? You have to be aware of that and you have to control that.
You have to, because if you're not winning those little things, like you're going to lose the day. And when you lose the day overall, that's when time starts flying by and you look back and you're like, it's a little too late now to try and build a business and live in Nantucket, you know? So you've got to be conquering these things. Like you've got to do the offensive work where like you're really taking the time to understand what you want and you're following those little impulses and you're truly in touch with the vision and what you want your life to be like. You've got to be doing that offensive work. But defensively, you've got to conquer the little impulses. You've got to take good care of yourself. You got to make your bed. You got to move your phone charger away so you can set a clear boundary, because like you can make so much money on your phone, but like you're either making the money or someone else is making it off of your attention. And like there's a good side of that coin to be on.
Wow. Yep.
We're stumping each other with these things. This was a fantastic episode, but before we wrap it up, if you were listening to this episode and you got anything valuable from it, subscribe, do your part for us. Subscribe, give us the 5-star review. Like if you've been meaning to and you're like, oh my God, every episode they say it. I love every episode. I just haven't hit the button yet. Like pull the car over if you're driving.
Safely.
And it's safe. Just cut across all the lanes of traffic.
Oh, God.
Do whatever you've got to do, please, to leave us that review, because we love doing this for you guys. And when we see those 5-star reviews happening and we see that you subscribe to the show and we see that you're listening, like that gets us fired up to make you better episodes and put more time and more energy into this. Because like we don't make $1 off of this podcast. I pay so much out of my pocket to make this happen for you guys. And I know Michelle does too. And we sacrifice so much time and energy solely to help you, our listener, like have a better day, have a better life, inspire someone else. That's literally all we ask of you, is like give us the 5-star review, tell someone else about the show, subscribe, leave us a voice note on creationtocashflow.com with your name and a question if you want us to talk about something you're going through. And Michelle, anything else to...
No, I'm grateful for all the people who just listen, because going back to the whole, this wouldn't exist if we weren't all in the room. Nick and I could definitely do this and talk before we even had a podcast. Him and I would meet and like we would just have these conversations, which is where the podcast was birthed, because we were like, what are we doing? Like people want to hear this conversation. But the thing is, guys, you are what keep us going. Truthfully, if we knew just one person was getting, I know we know this, but like if we only needed one person that was like, y'all are changing my life, y'all are helping me, that would be enough for us. So we just appreciate the fact that you're here listening to this still right now, like as I'm speaking, because you're choosing something. You're a winner. You are abundant minded. Otherwise, you would hate our podcast because we would be triggering something in you that doesn't feel good. So thank you guys for being here, because we do it for you. And I love doing this podcast. I'm just grateful that somebody wants to hear me talk.
It's so much fun. You are the best podcast co-host, Michelle. I love doing this too. If you guys want to watch on YouTube, go ahead. You could see this on YouTube. You could see some of our short form clips. Check us out at Creation to Cashflow on Instagram and TikTok. Big benefit to that. It's really for you guys. It's just those little reminders where you see little clips that remind you to go watch the show or go see which episode that was from, because that one might be interesting for you. And you just get those little nuggets throughout your day. You get those little sprinkles of Nick and Michelle. And who doesn't love Nick and Michelle sprinkles? Check out my Instagram and TikTok at Get Ahead with Nick. Check out Michelle's Instagram and TikTok at MichelleJH. That's Michelle with 2 L's, then 4 E's, then a J, then an H. And we love you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.